Hi guys. Okay, so I'm going to try and talk slower this time because I know I do talk fast, sorry. I was asked to show how I prepare my colours for painting, and I made some white bath bombs with some embeds inside, and I need to paint them the jack-o'-lantern, and I don't know if it's called Aunt Sally or Sally, anyway, but I've been asked to do those. So I use my half moulds for everything. I've got some new ones coming and I just use these all the time. When I make the smaller ones, I use them to store just to give them a bit of time to dry, and then every sort of 20 minutes just turn them until I've turned them till I feel a bit, you know, nice and hard, and then I take them out and I know that they're good. So I use them also for getting my paint ready. So there's a couple of ways to do it. Now, we've all heard of poly 80, which is what you put inside your bath bombs, and it basically helps combine any oils and water together so that you don't get that oil slick on the top of your bath, which isn't very nice looking. For those of you who don't use a poly 80, you can use poly 20 if you're just using mica, and this is for painting purposes. Okay, so I'm just going to use, this is black mica. There's not a lot in here, but you don't need a lot, and I'm not going to be painting huge amounts. This is about 1/8 of a teaspoon. I do tend to use a bit more mica than I would easy colours or Aurora dyes or anything like that. This is just bog standard mica. And then mix it with some poly 20. Give it a good stir, and it's a really thick, I love painting this way because it's nice and thick, and it's kind of quite easy to paint with. So just mix, mix, mix. Just turn that so you can see that. And that's a nice thick mixture to work with. So that's just with mica. Now if you use easy colour, Aurora dye, any water solubles, you have to dissolve them in water first and then fill up with rubbing alcohol. So I'm going to do some black. This is from Aurora dyes. You just put a little bit in, you don't need a lot. And then just to help speed things up, I've just put some hot water in here so that you don't have to listen to my taps running. And I'm just going to put in about half a teaspoon and then give that, oh, splashed it on me. Give that a really good mix, get it all dissolved. And you need it to be dissolved, otherwise it's just, you can have big lumps while you paint. As you can see, I'm making a real mess on myself, but this is why I do bath bombs in my pyjamas. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, big old mess, but that's now dissolved. God, I've got it all over me, is there? Anyway, and then I use 99% rubbing alcohol, and then I put in just enough to make it so I've got enough to work with. And what I try to do is at least twice the amount of water that I've used. I don't know the technical term, but what I'm trying to do is overpower the water with 99% rubbing alcohol. Now, I don't know if that's going to show up on the camera. That's a lot thinner to use. It's fine to use. It works just as well as, so I'm just cleaning my hands while I'm talking. It works just as well as the poly 20 way with the mica. It's completely a personal choice, I think, what one you prefer to do. I'm going to try both. Let me just get an old cloth and just wipe this down, otherwise I'm going to get... Now, you can either use your bath bomb mould just to hold it in place so that it's nice and sturdy while you paint it. Some people I know use egg cup holders for boiled eggs. I found this tray in IKEA. I don't know if you can... It was in the kitchen department. I don't know what you're supposed to use it for. It didn't say on the label. But it's perfect. And it only cost like £1 or something. That was in IKEA. So, I'm going to paint both of these because it holds them in place for me. There's no rolling around. And for me, because I am the clumsiest person alive, it's perfect. So this is the water soluble. So you just make sure you get as much liquid off of your... You want to keep the paint, but try and get rid of the liquid, because what you don't want to do is lean over your bath bomb and then dribble. Nothing worse than a dribble. Now, I've got very shaky hands, so this doesn't always work. And the fact that I'm doing this knowing that I'm going to be watched. Oh, the pressure. I'm just doing the eyes. My hands are so shaky. But as I say, it's a personal choice which method you like to use. Some people prefer one method, other people prefer another. I happen to have quite a lot of micas in stock for soap making, so for me it's quite handy to be able to use the micas. Okay, so I've done her eyelashes. Now I'm going to do this. Oh, this is a lot thicker. Urgh. Gosh, my hands are so shaky. I don't even... I can normally get one eye exactly how I want it, and then the second eye never ever matches, and then I spend hours trying to match the two together. That looks about right. Okay, I'm just going to grab a bigger brush just to fill in his eyes, otherwise I'll be here all day. So this is with the Poly 20, which doesn't absorb as quickly. Obviously the rubbing alcohol with the water solubles, that just evaporates almost immediately, and that's dry. This will take a few minutes to dry. It will sort of soak in to the bath bomb, but it doesn't activate because it's Poly 20. There's no water in there, so it's not going to activate it. As you can see, I'm not an artist. Okay. Right. So, then for him, I'm just going to do little nose. And these really don't take long to do, but it makes a huge difference than just giving a plain white bath bomb. Okay, so there's my jack-o'-lantern with my... Can you see how much my hand is shaking? So there's my jack-o'-lantern. He's done. Really doesn't take long. Can you see him? There you go. Let's get rid of the black. Don't need those. Right, so now I'm going to do a red, because I want to do a red and a pink for her cheeks and her lips. Can you see her? So I'm going to get, this is a water soluble. Oh, I've got so little in here, I can't even get it out. There you go. So again, I'm just going to mix a teeny bit of water just to activate it. Oh, that was a lot of water. I really didn't mean to put that much in. Give it a really good stir. Make sure it's all dissolved. And some 99 rubbing alcohol. And so I want to do some little rosy cheeks on her. So I tend to just use a very fine little, I don't know if you can see that, very fine little paintbrush just to do my lines. And then I just use bigger paintbrushes and then I can do the filling in bit. And that just saves me a lot of time. You can just paint with the little paintbrushes, but I'm not known for my patience. So as you can see, because you can see the outline that I've just drawn, and then the pink that I'm now painting, it does dry just a shade or two darker, which is fab. There's her little cheeks. And now another pot. And I'm going to do some red. See if I can get just a dribble in this time. Perfect. Mix that in. And make sure it's all dissolved. Otherwise, when you're painting, you'll find that there'll be little specks on there, and you really don't want specks. So now just fill up with 99 rubbing alcohol. And let's see if we can do a mouth. I have no idea why I'm shaking so much. So there's her little mouth. Ah! Grab a paintbrush. So better to get as much rubbing alcohol, the liquid, off of the paintbrush, because otherwise what happens when you paint, it spreads if there's too much rubbing alcohol used. So better to have to dip your paintbrush in the pot 100 times to paint the lips, and to make sure that they don't spread. Oh, I'm making a real mess of this. There's her lips. So there's my, I don't know whether she's called Sally. I've never seen Nightmare, The Night After Christmas, or I don't even know what the film's called, where you've got Jack-o'-lantern And apparently this is Sally or Aunt Sally. Don't. Actually, I think Aunt Sally is from Wurzel Gummidge. So that's not a good thing. Right. So I'm just going to get rid of those for a second. Because I've got one more to do. So I'm going to shove that all out the way. Get rid of all of these. These I made for a friend of mine. She wanted these snowflakes. She wanted them made in pink and then sprayed in blue and pink. So I did all of that. They've got some airbrush glitter. I don't know if the light's going to pick that up. And then I made my little mouse. I've got the cat mould, and I then found this mouse. So I made him and then sprayed him. He's all sorts of colours. He's got embeds in him, and then he's sprayed with all sorts of colours. Again, I don't know if you're going to see the sparkle on him, but he's very sparkly. But there's blues, there's greens, there's pinks, there's reds, there's all sorts of colours on him. But I want to give him some gold eyes. And these, I just want to colour the centre in gold. So I use airbrush gold because it's got a nice shimmer to it and it's really easy to work with. With airbrush glitter, you don't need anything else but rubbing alcohol. So I'm just putting some airbrush in there. And then depends on how much you put in, depends on how thick it'll be. So if I put a ton of rubbing alcohol in here, it's going to be really watery and liquidy, which is fine. It just depends on what you're wanting. Okay, so I'm going to grab, this is probably too small. Oh, that'll do. So let's see if I can do it into camera. Can you see? Don't know. So I'm just literally going to paint, and this just gives it a little bit more colour. This particular mould, I would love to be able to paint inside the little indents, but they're so fine, even my fine paintbrush won't get down there. So I'm not going to bother. So I'm just doing the centre. You can go around the edge, give the edge a nice little gold lift. When you're painting, you know, sort of, the world is your oyster, as they say, and you can make quite a sort of, I'm not going to say boring bath bomb, but, you know, plain white one or plain green, whatever colour. You know, you can just jazz it up very easily by spraying colour onto it, bit of glitter. I was not really a glitter girl until I started making bath bombs, and then I'm really into glitter. And I've not used any other glitter than airbrush. I don't put the cosmetic glitter and everything that a lot of people use. I've not done it myself. I'm not that much into glitter. I just like a little shimmer. Bit of a sparkle, that's all. Okay, so very quickly, they're all done. So I could just go around the edge and just do that. So I'm going to do my little mouse. Let's see if I can mess up his eyes while doing it on camera. There's one. So there's my, the eyes almost complete. So I'm just going to get the black again. And just put some pupils in his eyes. And I'm going to give him a little black nose. And that. This is so difficult when you're shaking. So there's my little mouse done. He's full of embeds. What does he smell of? Oh, he's Izzy Mizaki. Izzy, yeah, Izzy Mizaki. Can't remember what I think these are Izzy as well. And these are Angel. So that's it. That's how I prepare my colours. It's really simple. There's the 2 ways of doing it, and that's painting. There's a different video for preparing for spraying, but that's how you prepare mica and a water soluble to paint with. I hope that helps. If it doesn't, oh, sorry. Anyway, Happy New Year to everyone. Take care.